Hello everybody, welcome back to another Coach's Log. I'm Coach Rob Grissom, Positive Performance Coaching. And on these various Coach's Logs, we discuss all kinds of things, but most of them come about due to questions that my own athletes or you, the viewers, have had, people reaching out to me through various social media channels. And today what I want to talk to you guys and gals about is this whole week. This whole week is going to be dedicated to climbing, and the topic of climbing is for cyclists. We will eventually get into the discussion of what it means to run in the hills and descend in the hills as a runner, but this week it's all about cyclists and climbing specifically. So this Coach's Log is going to be relatively short, and we're going to follow up with approximately 3, maybe 5 quick tips on climbing. I started this a while back and lost a couple of videos along the way. So we're starting over, and hopefully this content definitely lives up to what I was hoping for. So right off the bat, like I said, I get lots and lots of questions from folks that want to become better climbers or feel like they're not very good at climbing. And the thing is about climbing, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what it means to be a climber, that you have to have, a certain body fat percentage, you have to have a certain type of bike or wheel set or mindset to be able to conquer your favorite climb. And that's just too far from the truth. The thing is yes, there are climbing specialists in the competitive peloton that are about the weight of a pubescent teenager, even though they're an adult male or an adult female. And the problem with that becomes that a lot of folks don't want to feel that way, don't want to look that way. And gotta tell you, it's really, really, really hard to get body weight down in a fashion to be able to ride at 140, 130 pounds. It's very, 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 very hard to do that. So the rest of us mere mortals that just want to have a good time climbing and feel a little more confident in the saddle, we're going to go through a lot of things. But I want you to first understand there is free speed to be had as a climber. And that does not necessarily mean that you're adding something to your bike or taking something away from your bike at no cost. That's not the case. Sometimes free speed comes about because you didn't have to actually train for it, you didn't have to diet for it, that sort of thing. So free speed really does not mean that there's no monetary cost, it just means that there's worse or less work involved. One of the first things that I bring up to folks is quite often people who are suffering in the saddle in the hills, sometimes it's more indicative of other problems related to bike fit. Now, bike fit is not necessarily an inexpensive proposition, but let me tell you, if you're having issues with your saddle, your back, your shoulders while you're climbing, please do yourself and myself a very big favor. If I'm your coach, go get a bike fit. We talk about this every year. Some of the people that I work with will get fit at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. And it's not bad insurance. It's really going to make things a lot more comfortable and a lot more enjoyable. And when things are comfortable and enjoyable, what happens? We want more of it. So we're more likely to train more or ride more and enjoy things more. The next thing that I would throw in there is just general bike maintenance. On top of the bike fit, you also need to be thinking about all the touch points on your bike. When was the last time that you lubed up the cleats and the pedals? When was the last time that you swapped out your tires, your inner tubes, your chain? All of those things start to add up. When you start looking at all those friction points and where rolling resistance comes into play, you'd be really surprised about how fast those things start to improve your position on the bike climbing. Then here's the next thing, and this really could have rolled into a quick tip, but the thing that I find is that if you want to be good at something, you've got to practice it. So that means you're going to need to spend more time in the hills. And for everyone who does not fit that earlier description that I gave of climbing specialists, and you weigh more than 145, maybe more than 150 pounds, guess what? You've got no business standing out of the saddle trying to climb. You really, really should be seated the entire time in the most relaxed position possible. We'll talk about that in the quick tips as well. The reason for doing that, quite simply, is so that you can put the best possible power out on the bike. You being a little larger than a climbing specialist, you've got no business dancing out of the pedals and trying to attack. Instead, you're better seated, you'll produce better power that's more sustainable. All right, everybody, that's all the time there is for this coach's log. Please follow on with the rest of this week's quick tips, and we'll catch up later. And as always, remember, if you have questions, feel free to leave comments here on the YouTube channel or on positivperformancecoaching.com on the Contact Us section under the About menu. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your training week, and we'll talk again very soon.